Good morning. It's still morning, and I hit the go live button, which means we are ahead of the curve today. We are ahead of the curve today. No reason I started with Ain't No Rest for the Wicked other than I was jamming out to it before starting stream. Because I think what we're going to do today until therapy is um, just listen to the DJ on Spotify. I think that's what we're going to do today. No Veronica specific playlist until we hear from Alexander X about therapy. I let Zello know that I'm going to be around before Storm. So we'll see if we get our therapy session in. I went on a writing rampage this morning. Let me tell you. I wrote... How many words did I write this morning? Because I was listening to music this morning, and I went, ooh, 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 you know what's going to be a great idea for Veronica's therapy journal? I wrote 830 words this morning, and it's not even about her day, and it's about her feelings and some stuff. A lot of introspection for Veronica. Breakthrough? Question mark? But it's actually things she thinks about a lot. But she just wrote and wrote and wrote because I had this inspiration strike of Veronica but taking out an old scrapbook that she has, that her dad's mom helped her put together, and how like looking at those photos just kind of triggered something inside of her. Let's see. Is our therapist still around? The Hyder Pops. But the goal is to have therapy today. Richard Dark. But the goal today is therapy. Last night, guys, we went roof running last night. Because we was hanging with Wally and Aubrey for a bit, and we cleared our first roof. We cleared our first roof last night with the alarm blaring because we tripped it. But I think I still had like 4 or 5 left by the time the alarm went off too. And we just fucking sped through it. Like after the alarm went off, I don't think I had a single fail. It's crazy. Crazy. But I'll read off. I posted it in the Discord, but I'll read off Veronica's entry from today. Because I feel like this is something that her therapist is going to latch on to. April 2nd, day and feelings. My day hasn't started yet. My day hasn't yet started while I write this, but I had something I wanted to write down because it's what I'm feeling right now. And this journal thing isn't just about how my day was or is. I was going through an old album last night. I have a scrapbook my paternal grandmother helped me put together when I was a kid. I think it was a Girl Scout project before I got kicked out of Girl Scouts. Something about looking at the innocent freckled face that had no idea of the things life had in store for her made me want to cry. I stepped out of the apartment with it for a bit because I didn't want to wake Mason. That innocent child had no idea that one day she would be the reason her cousin and an innocent woman died. That she would be the reason the innocent woman was blamed for the accident. That innocent child had no idea that her own father would essentially sell her into marriage. Money might not have changed hands, but he essentially sold his soul and hers to the goddamn dealer Enzo family. That innocent child had no idea that she'd sustain her first gunshot wound before her 18th birthday. That one day a gun would be held to her head and she'd be forced to take a life. That the favor the DiLorenzo family had done to get her off the charges from the accident sealed her fate. That her early 20s would be spent under the thumb of her father-in-law, who oversaw her becoming a tool, a monster. That innocent child had no idea that one day she'd have to take the life of her best friend to save herself. All before she moved to a city that thrives on violence and chaos. Sometimes I wonder who that innocent child could have become if she didn't go through what she did with Casey. If she didn't move to Los Santos to escape. If she didn't find herself stalked by someone who became obsessed with her after shooting her in the back of the head. If she didn't find herself targeted by 3 different serial killers. If people she loved didn't get hurt. If she didn't fall for a guy who couldn't accept her as she was. Who would get upset at her for being an addict. An addict who was struggling, who made her struggles about himself. If she didn't have to go to war and watch an RPG be fired at herself and her medics, and have to go on to remove shrapnel from the throat of one of her medic. If she didn't have to pick up the broken body of her husband and try in vain to save him, have to watch a dear friend leave OR2 and tell her that her husband was gone. If she didn't have to try to save the life of a dear friend who had been shot in the head. If on that same day, someone she had just started to befriend hadn't died at the same time as that dear friend. If that someone hadn't been someone who caused a mass amount of trauma to her sister, but she couldn't bring herself to care because she was hurting and he let her feel something other than the pain that consumed her. If she didn't feel guilt because she thought that maybe she could have prevented one death that day if she had just clocked off to go hang out with that person. I wonder how that innocent child would feel about the fact that after all that, she goes on to befriend someone who prior to the collapse, she watched murder a DOC guard. That person became someone she feels safe with, who she considers one of her closest friends. I wonder how she would feel about the fact that after everything she's gone through, Casey, her engagement to Josh, her relationship with Randy, the loss she went through with Harvey, she falls in love with a guy from an MC. She leaves her job in EMS and just lives her life. Would she be proud that I got out, or disappointed that it got to that point in the first place? I don't know how Tegan would feel about Veronica, but I know Veronica has conflicting feelings on Tegan. Tegan the child, Tegan the teenager, and Tegan the young adult were 3 very different people. I wish I could go back and protect Tegan the child and Tegan the teenager. I don't know how I feel about Tegan the young adult. What I do know is she's dead and buried the day I left New Jersey. The photos make my heart hurt because I wonder who she could have become, and I look at who she has become. Who I've become has led me to some incredible people, but it's come at a cost. So I think Alexander Rex is gonna have a field day with that. Can't put her cigarette down for like 5 seconds to eat a fucking burger. God damn it, Veronica. But we'll text Dr. Rex. I figured we'd start our day out here. It is foggy. We don't like that. Rex. I am down. Let's mute the phone. Luna last night. Veronica felt so bad last night because Luna wanted to talk to her. And Veronica was with Molly and Aubrey and Mason and Rue, just hanging out. And Veronica, just the way she heard Luna talking, like the tone in Luna's voice, like she knew Luna needed her, but because Luna didn't say it, right? Luna didn't say it. So Veronica was just like, alright, I'm just gonna stay here. Like, yeah, I can tell that you're not okay, but I don't have the spoons to break off from what I'm doing. Unless you say the words, like, I really need you right now. Like, V is just like, you know? She is just wasn't in the headspace. Because I was coming on the heels of yet the other day having that talk with Happy. Also, I really love this outfit on her. I almost didn't do it with the cat socks, but I feel like the cat socks make it better. Like, the cat socks make it better. I should probably go get more food at some point. There was some weird stuff at Storm, by the way. Of, like, nobody's characters showing up in character select. It was wild. Veronica's pain is currently sitting at a 6, by the way. Alright. Let's walk back to the car. Like, she's currently sitting at a 6 on the pain scale for her. She really needs to go back to Ivy at some point. But man, I'm so happy V cleared a roof last night. And I think it's true that it does make a difference if you're working on, like, by yourself versus, like, partnered up with somebody. Easier to keep track of, like, the fuck ups, so you have a better idea of, like, okay, if I fuck this up, the alarm's gonna trip and all that. But I feel like I did better with the alarm going off, as weird as it sounds, because I don't think I fucked up once after the alarm started going off. I think it was because it's like, oh god, the cops can show up at any point. But we fucking cleared it. Like, I was so happy. I know Cello and I are aiming for therapy to happen today. Because it's been about a week. Actually. Let's take some money out of the ATM while we're here. Actually, I'll take 600 out. Fee waived, hell yeah. But we'll see. I would like to get her therapy in today. I'm missing a couple days in the journal, but that's okay. It's in a Google Doc now because it's just... If it had been in a notebook, I would have had to... Alexander Rex does her therapy. Which is hilarious when you consider in 3.0 what Alexander X did to Veronica's adoptive father. Like, when you take that into consideration, it's hilarious that she reached out to Alexander Rex of all people. But given Veronica's violent tendencies, I almost think it's perfect. So she does private therapy. She was gonna go to Pixie, but ultimately decided to go to Alexander Rex. In 3.0, she went to Jonathan Wright. Who then obviously died because he drowned. A lot of people went to Jonathan for therapy. I don't think there was ever a time Jonathan was around that he didn't have a therapy session, because everybody went to him. And then she went to Sarah for a session, and before the end of 3.0, Veronica was supposed to have another session with Sarah. And OOC, I know, and in character, Veronica suspected that Kiki had said something to Sarah, because Sarah had texted Veronica and was like, "You and I are going to have a chat." It was like non-negotiable, because at that point, at the end of 3.0, after the death of Han Velsing and Merrick McFly, Veronica started spiraling so hard again after recovering from Harvey's death a little bit. She started spiraling hard because she felt like she had failed not one but two people in one day, which leads to, like, she's just a hot mess at the end of 3.0, and then Leo fucking RPGs her husband's grave, which was hilarious, by the way. Because of course Leo did that. Yeah, there's a lot of private practice therapists right now. I think it's just because, like, it's been such a process for the psych department to get set up. Parsons. But there's just so much for Cello to dig into, for Rex to like go in on this week, because yeah, it's something. And, like, I hate that there's, like, so many hoops that it seems like she has to jump through right now. Because I think when it comes to, like, the slow burn shit on the server, psych is so important. Like, as an avenue for people. Oh. Hello.
Hi, Miss Veronica.
Hello.
Would you like to meet up?
Sure. Because who knows what the storm will bring.
All right. I will meet you in our usual spot at the observatory.
All right.
All right. See you in about 5 minutes.
All right. See you then. Have to swap playlists here shortly. Which way do I need to go? Is it this way? Yeah, it's this way. I think psych is just so important when it comes to a lot of the slow burn stuff, depending on, like, arcs and stuff. Like, for Veronica, psych is God, even though Veronica's saving up for a house, I would absolutely have Veronica throw so much money at Pixie for the psych department. 100%. It's like I said, like psych is just such. I also feel like it's underutilized in some aspects. I love how all this is red curb, but it's all parking spots. Because like, let's see, are we fed and watered? We're fed. Let's water. Cause I always black bars for therapy. I used to be the same way with Veronica of like, she's never gonna go to therapy. She needs therapy, but she's not gonna go. But she did promise Kiki that she would get therapy after the first Charlotte incident.
You owe me $20.
And she is holding true to her promise to Kiki. Let me... Just getting ready to send this to Cello. But yeah, she promised Kiki she'd go to therapy. So she's holding true to it. And it's been really productive for her, honestly. She hasn't finished her assignment for the past week. Because her homework assignment, aside from the journal this week, was to go on a friend date with Wally or Rue. And then go on a friend date with someone from the Raiders that she doesn't normally interact with. And she hasn't done that one. She hasn't done that one yet. Because it's partially that she hasn't really been around and free when Lane's been around. And partially because Veronica is still fucking intimidated as fuck by Lane. And like, she could have called Wade. She could have. But she's not going to. She's staying adjacent. She knows that the Raiders have, like, that... I think she knows the Raiders have the rule against, like, dating, inside the pub. And she and Mason had a conversation before they made things official. About how... about things. And ultimately, Veronica would never want to give up her relationship to join a club. She is adamantly against that. Veronica herself is also just very much not into the idea of... Yeah, no, Wade 100% would probably be like that, but Veronica's mental state is one of being an anxious being all the time. And she has a very black and white view on things, but she doesn't want to join a group. The only thing she'd be open to, if it ever came to the point that she and Mason are that serious, would be becoming an old lady. That's the only thing she'd be open to. She doesn't want to join a gang. She doesn't want to join an MC. She has been down the road of being part of something, and she didn't like how that went for her. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, let's do this. I just got out of a very productive meeting. Oh,
That's
sorry.
good.
Hold on. Oh, no, never mind. I guess she didn't want to talk.
Oh, damn.
Misclick.
Hmm. I know how that goes.
All right. So, what's new in the world of Veronica Westfield since our last
I
session?
got arrested again.
Oh, okay.
Petty
Was this
theft
for
and
your warrant
resisting.
we talked?
Nah.
Oh, not for your warrant we
I
talked
didn't
about
get a
last
warrant
time.
yet. And I got
Really? Aren't they running really low on time?
They are. I got my phone subpoena 5-6 days ago now. And it
Fascinating.
was a 14-day delayed notice. And that tells me
Okay, so
they
on
got
my
jack shit.
timeline, yeah, on my timeline, you came to see me for the first time.
Just after.
Just after, and we had a little longer than a week between that session and our last session.
They
and
have
it's
like
been about a week since this session.
8 days to press charges or something like that at this point.
That's not a lot. They might not be able to do anything.
I want to read you the subpoena because I think it's hilarious. And
Okay.
I have laughed about it with several different people at this point. Their PC confuses 2 different events that had nothing to do with each other.
Oh, I would fight the subpoena then, honestly. Here's the thing, and take it from a former criminal. It doesn't matter if if you don't fight it. It doesn't matter if the PC is messed up because they will use what they got anyway. And here's the thing, you could scupper their entire case regardless of their timeline and get everything thrown out. You're in my way, sir.
They're so fucking rude.
All right. Did you journal this week? Or
Yeah.
did we pass that up? All right, let's see that while you tell me about your week in Veronica Westfield's work.
Let me, just gonna pass that over to you.
All right.
But, yeah, I got my phone subpoena, and it was hilarious. I've read it off to so many different people at this point, because it was ridiculous. They redacted her name. Veronica Westfield slashed the throat of one redacted. Through several text messages and a phone call between the two of them, and the victim's statement, we know that it was her. Westfield lured Redacted to the lighthouse with promise to give her her phone and SIM back from a previous incident in which Redacted was stabbed. The LSPD is requesting Westfield's phone records in order to determine if there was premeditation to the attack, because they wanted to push attempted first degree.
Well, first of all, why redact the name when it's exceptionally obvious what you're being subpoenaed for?
That's what everyone else is saying.
That's so... I question PD sometimes. I liked a lot of them. Some of them, they head scratchers.
But it's been like 6 days. They haven't pushed shit, so I'm thinking they have a whole lot of nothing. And they're not confident that it would hold up in court when I inevitably appeal it.
Yeah,
And
I mean, I would just nip it in the bud and
I had to sit through one more traffic jam. I'm gonna go postal.
get a lawyer to trash that subpoena, honestly.
yeah. I mean, inevitably when the statute passes, I'm going to be such a bitch about it.
I can't blame you.
Part of me really just wants to twat out Redacted with a skull emoji.
I know, man. That was insane. What was her name again?
And then just make such sly comments to Bayweather, who is the officer investigating it, apparently.
So, how about
Based
a
off
few
the fact that
later?
her name's all over the subpoena. Just like, I did it, you just couldn't prove it. But that's just because I'm a bitch.
All right. Tell me about your week in Veronica Westfield's words.
Well, one of my oldest and dearest friends decides he wants nothing to do with me because he's a whiny piss baby. Happy found out about Warrant Watch and kind of pieced it together that I was the one that slit Charlotte's throat. And then he told me that he can't hang out with somebody who attacks medics. Two different friends there. One was East and one was Happy.
Okay.
Hung out with Wally last night and a little bit earlier this week, which was nice. It was actually a really quiet week, all things considered.
Hey, how's it going?
Had a talk with Mason because one of the people I've been hanging out with, I know he's not a big fan of, and I never want to do something that's going to make him extremely uncomfortable. And it's like, if this person made him, like, super uncomfortable, like, I would just go out of my way not to just hang out with them by myself, you know?
Yeah. How'd our homework assignment go this week?
I got half of it done.
All right. Half is good.
You know, hung out with Wally, had a good talk with Wally, actually. Because I told Wally, like, straight up, like, hey, I'm gonna call you at some point this week and we're gonna hang out. Like, I have therapy homework, and he was super chill about it. He did ask me, like, okay, why is this your therapy homework? And I explained to him, like, where my head was at and stuff. And, like, he reassured me, like, it's never a bother, but I'm still gonna feel that way. And I know Mason really, 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 really wants me to spend time with Lane.
Well, I mean, you're an exceptionally important part of Mason's life, and so is the club, but more especially Lane. You know, it's not just anybody who gets to be president of an MC, so it's not unusual he wants two very important women in his life to get along.
Hey, how are you doing?
Yeah. I just need to get over the mental block. And, like, part of it is I come from a background where, like, you don't just go hang out with the person at the top of an organization. Like, in my case, that was my father-in-law. And, like, if you so much as breathed wrong in his direction, you know, didn't really go well for you.
I want to talk about two things in your journal for this week. I want to talk about your entry from yesterday, April 1st, where you had something you were exceptionally proud of, but you didn't want to write it down. Do you want to say it?
It was the roof running.
Oh, okay.
I cleared that bitch with the alarm going off. No mistakes after the alarm went off either.
All right, that is something. Okay, and now I want to talk a little bit about what you wrote this morning. Tell me where your head's at.
I don't know. It. Sometimes I think about her and, like, how life could have been if Casey was never in the picture, right?
Yeah.
Everything I've gone through goes back to me at 14.
It's really easy to feel like we let our younger selves down. Because sometimes life does its level fucking best to chew us up and spit us out. Unspecified childhood onset conduct disorder. That's my official diagnosis. The last picture I have with my family and being happy and smiling, I was 10. I was on medication. I was receiving therapy. Through a series of events, I was no longer with my family and I was no longer on medication. I certainly wasn't receiving therapy anymore. And for a very, very long time, I was a monster. When I got remedicated a couple years ago, I reached out and got into contact with my remaining family. And some of them wanted nothing to do with me, which fair. But a few, uh, more than a few, I guess, maybe about half, were willing to give me a second shot because they realized, what had happened to me. And I got that picture, and it's me and my dad and my mom sitting in one of those old wooden rowboats on the Chesapeake Bay on a vacation. And we look ecstatic because I remember it being the first time we ever traveled out of state because I was finally old enough to go on a proper vacation. And I burnt that picture. Thankfully, it's not the only copy. My aunt still has one. Because at first, all I could think about is that little boy is dead. But through my own therapy and through my own healing process, a lot of my actions are my own fault. I can blame not being medicated. I can blame, being tortured and human trafficked, and I can do a lot. But there were points in my life where I was in remittance, where I could have checked myself in and gotten back on medication. Uh, and so I have to look at that little boy, and then I have to look at myself, and I have to realize that, God, yeah, my life between then and now kind of fucking sucked. But then I look at now and I look at all the people in my life. I look at the pastor, I look at my psych team, I look at the literal governor of Minnesota who stuck his neck out for me to get into this release program I'm on. And I just have to realize that that little boy isn't dead. That little boy just lived. He lived a very interesting life, but he lived. And that's, I'm not saying you have to agree with me right now or even accept it, but I think I get where you're coming from, and I think you can probably understand. You can see yourself in that, and you didn't let that little girl down. You just lived.
Sometimes I wonder why no one protected her. My dad.
Because, go ahead.
I know my dad's parents tried, but my dad cut them off as soon as they threatened to try to get custody of me. Because they saw the writing on the wall. They saw that he was getting in deeper with the DiLorenzos. Saw how attached Casey was to me. And unfortunately, my maternal grandparents had a lot more money and a lot more influence than my dad's parents could ever dream of. Kept them in line. But sometimes I wonder if there was still something they could have done.
Wondering will kill you is something I've discovered over time. Here's the thing. Your past shapes you, but it doesn't have to define you. Does that make sense?
A little bit.
Our past cannot be erased. Everything I ever did, everything I ever lived through, everything you ever did and lived through, it shapes who we are today. But who we are today can make new decisions and make our own lives. Just because I used to be a monster doesn't mean that I now can't be a man. And just because you used to be this scared little thing with no control over her life doesn't mean you have to be now. Does it shape the way you look at things? Sure, it makes you anxious and it makes you have low self-esteem, but that doesn't mean that has to direct the course of your life for the rest of forever, does it?
No.
We are what we make of things, and we are what we do with our lives. I will never be able to atone for what I did, and neither will you. We've talked about this, how you used to do things you're not proud of. People do not have to accept that we are magically better people. They can hold that hurt for the rest of their lives if they want to. That doesn't mean we can't go forward and do better things and live good lives. I mean, you're taking the steps all the time. Seeing me doing my, I know it feels somewhat ridiculous, but doing my homework assignments that I give you.
Or at least trying. I'm
You're
working
trying.
on the second half of this week's.
Listen,
One
therapy
day.
is all about trying. You don't magically get better when you have mental illness. It's years of work and balancing, and I am 7.5 years into being clean. But I know for a fact now that if I stopped checking in with my psych team or if I stopped taking medication, I would lose all that progress I've made in 7.5 years. And I like being a safe, happy, productive member of society. Just like you. Right now, you are taking steps to take control of your life and remain independent and find your own place in the world. But it's going to take work. It's going to take my stupid little homework assignments, and it's going to take, telling some people to fuck off. And unfortunately, it's going to mean along the way you might lose a person or two, but you're also going to gain a lot of people as well.
It's the losing people that sucks.
Oh, it hurts. I won't sit here and lie to you. Fucking sucks. But we cannot be sad when people pass out of our lives. We should instead cherish the time they were here, so long as they did things that were cherishable. You know.
You know,
And this friend might come back to you. It's your first instinct when you hear upsetting news is to close off. That's most people's response. And that might just be the case here.
I took off running from Milton's Mods all the way up the highway.
Mhm.
Because I just needed to do something. Because I knew if I just sat around, I was going to go get alcohol and I was just going to, you know, binge drink until I passed the fuck out. And of course, Mason fucking finds me as I'm jogging up the goddamn highway. And despite my best efforts, he does not leave me alone.
What? An act of love from your boyfriend? Huh?
Crazy.
Oh my god.
I tried so hard. I felt incredibly guilty. Because he was off to go hunt with, it's like Wally and Aubrey and I think Dax? But they were going
Those
to
are
go hunt.
names.
And I pulled him away from that. Unintentionally.
Counterpoint, he's a grown-ass man and can make his own decisions.
What if I don't agree with that decision?
That doesn't matter. He's an adult with human, freedom. He gets to make his own decisions. You don't have to agree with them. They're his decisions to make. Just like you don't want people controlling your decisions, you don't get to control other people's decisions, Miss Westfield.
And then he had the audacity to drag me to the hospital like a petulant child.
Oh, I know. How dare he want to check on his injured girlfriend?
He said
and
I
make
lost
sure
the
she was-
waiting for Ivy privileges.
Ooh.
Now, that man does not tell me no very often, so I was...
Well, then that should tell you that he was very serious about it, shouldn't it?
I wanted to cross my arms like a little fucking child and just hold my ground. But we were in a car, so I couldn't.
You know, I'm thinking not only do we need to work on you respecting your own autonomy, we need to teach you how to respect other people's autonomy in reference to you. Mason is a whole ass adult, I think, unless you're dating like a giraffe, in which case I have concerns.
No.
He gets to make his own choices. And in that moment, he decided that making sure the person he loves is okay was more important than a hunting trip that he could do later. The hunting trip can always happen. You needing him and then him not being there is much more a flash in the pan.
I would have been okay.
We don't know that, but we do know that you were especially okay because he was there, and that's a good thing. Just because you can suffer alone doesn't mean you have to, Miss Westfield.
I don't like dragging other people's moods down with me.
Well, who said his mood was dragged down? If anything, he was probably just worried.
He shouldn't
fact of
have
the-
to worry about me, though.
We are human. We worry about the people we love. It's a thing we do. You
He
worry
should.
about Kiki when she's upset, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay. That's normal. Surprise. You love Kiki as your sister. Why wouldn't you worry about her?
He should be able to go on a goddamn hunting trip without worrying about me.
And most days he can. But that day you very clearly needed him and he decided that you were important. Again, you don't get to make decisions for him and you have to respect that he chose you over that hunting trip. Why is it okay for you to be worried about people who are upset, but not for people to be worried about you when you're upset?
Because they don't gotta worry about me.
Incorrect. As a human, you are both deserving of love and worry. Surprise.
I mean, at the end of the day, I always land on my feet. So.
Well, now you have a whole ass system willing to hold a trampoline for you. Make sure you do a sick flip on your way down.
That might actually break my back.
Well, okay, maybe let's not do that. I'll tell them to switch it out from a trampoline to a pillow.
I have just had so many ups and downs with my mood this week.
Yeah, and Veronica, have you ever taken medication?
Yeah, I'm still on medication. Um,
Have you had it adjusted recently?
not since I came back to the city, no. There was a span of time where I was forgetting to take it. So.
You're having
Mason started putting it in smoothies for me because I was forgetting to take it so often.
I'm gonna refer you to a hospital site. Are you okay seeing Dr. Tonin?
Yeah.
I'm good to keep doing your regular therapy, but I think we might need to adjust your mood stabilizers. You've confessed to me concern several times over the last couple of weeks that you think your mood is a lot more uh, varied than usual, and I think maybe your medication just needs revisited. Is Mason still putting it in smoothies in the morning for you?
Yeah, we know that I took it because I drank the smoothie.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, I don't think I'm not saying this like as an alarmist. We need to get you on 17 million kinds of no. You're not going to benefit from being on more than one or two medication. What I think we just need to is review your dosage. Is all.
And I'm not even
Maybe
sure.
instead of taking one pill in the morning, we split it across 2 pills a day, just to extend out that and see if that helps.
They originally put me on it to help with the what was it? Because the PTSD shit, because that never goes away.
And what are you taking?
I think it'll just be easier for me to share the doc with you, because I can't pronounce shit.
Okay.
They may not even have me on the right stuff, is the thing too.
Okay, that's
So
alarming.
I don't know. I'm not a psych. They say, hey, we're gonna try this medication, see if this works.
What? What? A Riprazole with citalopram?
Dude,
Who the fuck prescribed this?
some out of state psych that I was going to.
No, incorrect. Bad. I'm sending you to Sarah. Oh, no wonder you're having issues. Citalopram is garbage.
Not a fan of that one.
No, from both a personal and professional standpoint, that one sucks.
Didn't say I was going to the best out of state psych.
Okay, no, I'm gonna email Sarah. You need this adjusted. Your Riprazole is probably how much? You know the dosage?
I just take what they tell me to.
Oh my god. Trash garbage psychologist, whoever prescribed.
Was waiting for that one.
I'm sending you to Sarah.
Oh my god. I was waiting for that one.
Citalopram has this fantastic issue where it tends to lose efficacy after 6 months at a single dose. Which means you either constantly have to scale it or you constantly have to change the secondary medication that you're applying it with. It's garbage. I hate it.
I was waiting for that one.
Can you tell I'm passionate?
I can absolutely tell that you're passionate about the medication. Look, I took what I could afford, man. Unfortunately, sometimes when you're living abroad, you don't have access to the best services. You have access to services.
Yeah, no, we're gonna get you sorted. That is a big. The therapy is good. The fact that you're having these mood swings, it's been about 6 months since you came back to the city and started these, isn't it?
I started them like a month or two before I came back to the city.
Yeah, so you're at the point where the citalopram would lose efficacy. All right, so that's what I'm gonna do. That's my homework. Your homework is to finish part 2 of that task and to keep journaling. And then I want you to do something new this week as well. I want you to try a new hobby.
I think I can do that.
My goal here is to try and enrich your life as much as possible, to help you socialize, to broaden your horizons, and to enrich your general life, which is why I want you to try a hobby. Because I think you need something you can do in your downtime. It's like if you're just chilling with people at Milton, or if you're passenger princessing, maybe you're knitting in the passenger seat or something, or anything. Or maybe you're gonna try cooking with Mason, something. Try that. All right.
I can do that.
All right. I also noticed that you're not filling out your self-worth pages. So let's try and work on filling those out this week. I want to see all 7 pages filled out by the time we meet up next week.
Oh god.
Yep. All right. What's your homework this week?
New hobby, keep journaling, finish part 2 of last week's homework.
Okay. And what's the additional addendum to your keep journaling homework?
Do the self-worth pages.
All right. Next week, I want you to bring your boyfriend with you if you can. We can tailor it to his schedule. In fact, it might be easier to tailor it to his schedule.
Yeah.
Because then I can just ride the train for the night.
He had concern that you would try, I don't want to say like therapize him, but like I try to explain to him
client.
that he's coming so that he can say his piece, kind of. And
yeah, I more want him as a sounding board and to get a third person view so I can remember we talked about this last week. I want to hear his thoughts on situations so I can recontextualize them in a way that you can grasp that's more comfortable to you.
Yeah, that.
He's not my client. I'm not interested in therapizing 2 people at once. If he wants to be my client, he can retain my services at a different time.
Yeah, if he comes around today, because I know he wasn't feeling too well last night, but if he comes around today, I'll talk to him about it.
We'll pick a tentative day for next week. Next storm. It'll be later in the night for all of us because I will almost certainly have to ride the train if we're going to do it next storm.
Yeah, he probably will too, if I'm being honest. Most days he's not coming around till like 9 p.m. at the earliest because of the goddamn train.
Okay, I know it was kind of a short session this week, but thankfully you've had a relatively uneventful week compared to our last 2 sessions.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think this week feels more like you just needed a vent week more than for me to therapize you kind of week, you know?
Yeah, this week was it was weird.
Yeah.
I also brought my payment in cash this week because I was buying ATM.
Thank you. Oh, you gotta see it's 750.
I forgot that it went up.
Yeah, I had to bump it a little bit. Pay my bills.
All right, I'm missing 150, but
250.
no, 150.
Oh, bad. Okay. You can just bring it with you next session. Just bring 900 next session.
900 next session. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll try to remember. I will try to remember that.
Yeah, let's work on our homework this week. Let's do that double session next week. Please tell your boyfriend that I'm not interested in therapizing him. You're my client.
I will.
But he's a very important part of your life, and I just want to help contextualize his feelings in a way that you can grasp from the point where you are in your life right now. To see if we can't help relieve some of the pressure in that relationship in your life. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm tired.
Yeah, you go get some rest.
I woke up early today specifically because I had to go to that meeting, and then what I thought was going to be a 15-minute meeting turned into a 45-minute additional session where we were collaborating.
Damn.
And I had to use my one brain cell a lot.
Not bad. I mean, sounds like it's good.
Oh yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely going to be a case I enjoy working. Yeah, you're honestly don't be too shocked as we continue these sessions if our general sessions go down from an hour to like half an hour like today.
Mm.
and then only like weeks where big things happen where you really need, where we really need to cover something, or we have breakthroughs that are like the hour-long sessions.
Gotcha. Alright.
All right. I release you into the wild. Don't forget
Yeah.
to do your homework.
I will try not to forget to do my homework. I gotta stop somewhere
Do
over
part
here.
2 this week.
I'll try.
Remember, take Mason with you if if it would make you feel comfortable. He really wants you to hang out with Lane? Great. Go hunting with him and Lane. Or I don't know what you kids are doing these days. Isn't the hot job currently sanitation?
Sanny, but I don't think any of us are interested in running Sanny, especially any of the raiders.
And yeah, take, the three of you, go hunting or go towing, and you can be a passenger princess doing your hobby in the back or something. Just take him with you and try, okay?
Alright, I'm gonna break off from you here because there's something I gotta do up here.
Yeah, do your thing.
Yep.
Bye, Miss Westfield.
Veronica had a realization yesterday. I forget where exactly it is over here. I just know that it was over here.
Oh look! A walking pile of shit! You fucker!
But V had a realization yesterday. That it was the anniversary of Blake's death today. And that is on the list of I have a list of 3.0 permas that Veronica will, if she remembers the date, which is like if I OOSD check the list and see that the date's coming up, she'll, take a moment and go somewhere, sometimes in silence, sometimes not, just recognize it. And I think this is the first of those dates since coming back in 4.0. The next one that's coming up is going to be Lashandra on the 20th. So, in this case, she stopped here because that's where she recalls him being buried. On the 20th, she'll probably go to the Vinewood Cemetery, where, like, canonically that's where Lashandra's buried. Should stop and grab snacks while we're here. On the 15th, though, it's not the day Harvey died. She is gonna have a moment of going somewhere and having a quiet moment. Probably gonna be at the spot where they got married, where she's gone there a couple times. But she'll probably go to that spot and just kind of have a quiet moment. Because like I said, even though she has moved on and closed that chapter completely, closing a chapter doesn't mean that you don't still grieve, that you don't still mourn in some capacity when certain days come to pass. So for V, her wedding anniversary obviously is going to be one of those days that she is going to take a moment. Because the day that Mason told her that he loves her is the day that she let go, essentially. Which is why I think it was kind of perfect that that happened at the lighthouse. Because historically for Veronica, the lighthouse is where she goes when she needs to let go of something. And in letting go of Harvey, she let Mason in fully, is kind of the way I see it. I'm gonna have her sit here for a second because I gotta run to the restroom real quick. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. What hobby do we think V should pick up this week? I'm partial to crochet. Just because I think it'd be funny for her to be sitting in a tow truck with somebody and just have a bag of yarn. I don't like knitting. I hate knitting. I've tried knitting. I hate it. So I feel like she'd be more of a crochet girly. Let's see. Is Kiki Pendragon around? I meant... And here's the thing, right? I'm just picturing, right? Veronica getting into crochet and just the apartment covered in like granny squares and Afghan blankets once she figures it out.
Hello.
Hello, I'm calling because I'm gonna be driving.
Okay, that's valid.
Also, I have to get a new hobby this week. I'm thinking crochet.
Crochet is actually pretty chill. I enjoy crochet. I'm not good at it, but I enjoy it. I can make a sick scarf, but you try to make me make any other shape than a straight line and I'm fucked.
And then Mason also was like, you should start doing G6. And I'm like, I don't want to do G6. He went, but money.
If you want to do it, I have Winston's trucks now and I can do tier 2 jobs, so.
Yeah, I am down because I'm trying to save for a house now.
That's
So,
valid. Yeah.
That's why he's telling me go do G6 before you get a felony. So, I'm like,
Remember,
okay.
did I have a chance? You remember those charges that I got the other day?
Mm-hmm.
They're not on my MDT.
What the fuck? You can't.
They didn't process my charges.
You can't keep getting away with this, Kiki. But speaking of crime, I cleared a roof last night with the alarm blaring.
Nice. Well, good for you.
I was the adrenaline, Kiki. That's why I do it. The fucking adrenaline, man.
The adrenaline. I might give it some time to not be so fucking hot. And maybe try again another day.
No cops showed up, but they were in a chase, and it was closer to the end of storm.
Ah,
So.
I see.
But I cleared a fucking roof. Because the way we did it is we were each in our own group, which everyone says it's a lot easier when you're solo because you don't really have to worry about the other person fucking it up. I tripped the alarm. I was on like number 7 out of 12, and then I just fucking ripped through the rest of them and cleared the goddamn roof.
Nice. I'm proud of you.
I was so hype after that, man.
I don't blame you.
But one person I was with got 2 jobs and the other person got none, and I was like, what the fuck?
They were hogging all the jobs.
Clearly. But yeah, no. My therapist went, they halved you on what? I was like, I don't know, man. That's just what my therapist told me. You know, that's what they put me on.
They had you on trash medication.
Well, apparently the one medication I'm on loses like, what was the word to use? Basically, after 6 months, it's just straight garbage.
Oh.
And you have to change out the other
your body
medication
becomes.
that you're on.
Yeah, that's okay.
And that's why he's like, I hate that drug. I hate it. Like, that's straight garbage. So he's reaching out to Sarah. He's like, they have you on this. What the fuck? And I'm just like, I don't know, man. That's what they put me on. Also, hold on, I gotta beat my head for just a second.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
You're good.
But yeah, G6 after storm? Question mark. I gotta get like a G6 thing put together, but
yeah, we can see if I'm able to do that. Depends on what the others are up to. Winston's probably gonna want to do some sanitation at some point, but he also wanted to do driving training, so we're gonna do that at some point too.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah, because as much as I don't want to do it, I acknowledge that there's a lot of money to be had in G6.
There's more money when you get to tier 3, but I'm not tier 3 yet.
Yeah.
So,
Like, I will grin and bear it if I must.
mhm.
If it means that I can start saving more towards a house.
Yeah.
Because, like, we went and looked up in Polito, but, like...
Everything's pretty pricey now.
I mean, it's not even that it's pricey, it's just, like, that's not where I really want.
None of them are the house you wanted.
Like I said, I desperately hope that Chumash houses come on the market because I've always liked Chumash and...
Well, maybe by the time you get to, a cost where you can buy a house, maybe those will be opened up.
That's the hope.
Also, it sounds like you can just transfer houses to people now because Avery and Sarah broke up and Avery transferred the house to Sarah. Oh, you didn't know?
I didn't know.
Yeah, apparently Avery thought buying the house would keep them together, but then they broke up.
No, that never works.
Yeah. Yeah.
That never works.
Well, I'm being a phone girl. I'm gonna let you go.
Alright.
Alright, love you, bye.
Love you, bye. Alright, so we're gonna try a G6 with Kiki. But yeah, I think Veronica's gonna be a crochet girly. Because I just think it'd be hilarious to have the mental image of, she's in a G6 truck with Kiki and she's just furiously crocheting in the passenger seat, cursing every time she messes up. Even though it's really hard to mess up in crochet. But Veronica would find a way. And then, like, sitting in the back seat of a car waiting for a roof running job. Just everyone's vehicles just absolutely covered in, like, granny squares and scarves and blankets that Veronica has half finished. I think would just be the funniest. I know how to crochet. I don't know how to fancy crochet. I can do granny squares. I can do straight line. I cannot do... My grandmother... I have on my bed right now. My grandmother's trying to actually finish the blanket for me after my grandmother passed. But I have a blanket that my grandmother is like the last... It's the last blanket that she was working on before she passed. And her friend finished it. But I could never make something like this. I am a granny square girly who can only do... I'm a one-trick pony who also needs to order her lunch. So give me a second. I'm gonna have to go check on the dog in a few minutes too. Cause my mom called me and is like, we gotta go. And the dog is inching closer to the door. But like that means like it could be anywhere from like a half an hour to like 5 minutes before he... DoorDash, come on. Open up. So, it depends. What do I want for lunch today? I don't want Taco Bell. I want something, and I don't know what. It's like how last week I wanted mac and cheese bread bowl from Panera, but they didn't have any bread bowls. As much as I'd love a bacon chicken mozzarella wrap, it gives me heartburn every time. You're just staring at your dasher waiting for them to arrive. I'm just trying to figure out what I want, man. I don't want bullhorns. I don't want a burger, I don't think. Could go Chick-fil-A. But I think that was overall a good session today. Right. Didn't need to be a long one. She really did just need a vent session this week. She needs to talk to Mason, just let him know, like, my therapist still wants you to come to the session. He's not going to try to therapize you. It's more so for me to see another perspective and him to kind of recontextualize it in a way that I can kind of grasp. No, Buffalo Wild Wings is way too expensive. Could order diner food, but I really don't want to. It was gonna end up being Chick-fil-A, because it's always Chick-fil-A. I could also do Auntie Anne's, but the grease. Wait, do they not have my pepperoni pretzel? They don't have the pepperoni pretzel, so I wouldn't get Auntie Anne's anyway. No, I know I'm gonna order and I'm gonna hate myself for it, but it's okay. It's okay. I'm gonna hate myself. The new chicken tacos? See, I'm not a fan of the Taco Bell chicken. Like, it just has never tickled my fancy. You know what's crazy to me, though? You can get a burger without the burger on it at some places. I am early today. It's because I don't have work this week. Crazy that. There's one more thing that I wanna. Actually, let me look at my. Alright. Done. So yeah, I think Veronica's gonna be a crochet girly. What's other hobbies do you think that Veronica would/could pick up? What do we think? Like, what would she/could she pick up as a hobby? Because, like, we've got the crochet. Which... Oh, I need to change the music. We're still on, like, the... This is the song that made me start thinking about Veronica, younger Veronica, and Veronica kind of spiraling a little bit. It's called You Might Not Like Her. But, Veronica will frequently think about how she was versus how she is. But I'm just really glad that someone finally asked what med she's on, because the way I've been waiting months for that to happen. Ooh, that was close. Like, the way I've been waiting. Because I was just like, you know what? This is what we're gonna go with. Made sure that, like, there's no, like, overly negative interactions between the two. And I'm like, sit back and wait. Just sit back and wait. I have ideas for Veronica's birthday, because she's gonna be out of town for at least the 2 days leading up to her birthday, because she's gonna be in Miami on the 11th of May, so she's probably gonna fly out on the 10th, stay the night on the... Oh my god. By the skin of her fucking teeth, man. Hold on. Sure nothing's broken or bleeding. By the skin of her fucking teeth. Man, bandages really do suck now, huh? She just... By the skin of her teeth, man. That should have taken her out. Like, she should have been down for the count on that one. Probably one of my favorite versions of Carry On Wayward Son. It's the Brianna Buckmaster version. Who she played a character on Supernatural. Why can't I remember the name? It was the blonde cop who became friendly with Sam and Dean, and Jody. Why can't I remember her name? Because I loved every time she showed up. Which I'm currently on like my 50th rewatch of Supernatural. Like if I was not on server right now, I would be watching Supernatural. Which, what I might do... Here's what I think I'm gonna do. I think, and I hate doing this, but I think what I'm gonna do I'm going to end stream here for now. We'll come back after Storm. Because I really wanted to stream her therapy session. So what we'll do, we'll end stream here for now. This is like part 1 of Tuesday stream. And what we'll do is we will come back after Storm. After I've eaten all that. And like I'll log here, like Veronica will have just like done her thing here. We'll come back after Storm. After I've eaten, taken care of Doggo, all of that. And we'll be back. We'll be back. This is just like a break. An interlude, as it were. So we will go to... I know who we'll go to. Go to Jay. And I'll be back after Storm. I'm just gonna go take care of some stuff. I just wanted to make sure that I streamed Veronica's therapy. And because of like Q and stuff, I was like, okay, if Cello is around now, we'll get her therapy done. So we'll be back after Storm. I'm gonna go take care of some stuff.